If you had a message, if you had something so important, so life-changing, something you could say that would absolutely wreck and change the lives of millions of people in the world, if you had that kind of message, and somebody said, here's the platform to do it, here's the biggest audience you could ever imagine, go on out there and say what it is you have to say, how would you approach that situation? I want to invite you all to join us on Sundays. We're starting a new series on the parables of Jesus. And we're going to be looking at Jesus and his teachings and how he had exactly that situation before him. He knew that the future writers of the Gospels were in his audience. He knew that the Pharisees and the leaders of the day were in his audience. All the people who needed to hear his message were there before him to hear it. And he knew, as God's Son, that his words would be written down in a book we would one day call the Bible that would influence millions of people for the next 2,000 years plus. He knew all of that. And he stood before people and he taught. And at least half of the time, the way he taught was by telling a story, a fictitious story, usually with one or two or three main characters, that often turned a typical understanding of things on its head. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had the opportunity to stand in front of millions of people and to speak a message that I knew people would remember, I would spend days and hours writing essentially a sermon. And I would try to bring in stories from my own life. I'd try to bring in contemporary things. I'd try to figure out how to do this, and it'd probably take me 20 minutes or so to do that. Jesus, many of the times when large crowds gathered around him, he would tell a simple story. And he'd walk away and people would marvel. And so we're going to look at those stories and unpack what they mean. And it's going to influence us and change our lives. These stories have been life-changing for millions of people over the years. And I believe that if you would give Jesus a chance and let him tell you these stories and listen with some fresh ears, your life could be changed as well. So come on and join us, 614 Florida Avenue, down here at the warehouse.